Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Alex BlackBelt Lima here with the Consumer Quarterback Show, filling in for your host, Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback. Stellar lineup, still in the house. We have attorney Patrick Smith. He's going to drop some information and knowledge on you. And we have Doug Clark of Hours Creole. I cannot wait to talk about crawfish with that man. I love crawfish. What can I say? Went to New Orleans. Quick story about crawfish since I love it. Do you know there's a crawfish omelet? Amazing. Life-changing. Tried to recreate it here at home. Not the same. That's all I got to say about that. All right, so before we go a little deeper into crawfish and things with attorney Patrick Smith, not related, we're going to talk about some of the properties we have available from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams, Brandon and Lindsay's stellar real estate team. First property I'd like to highlight and showcase for you is 3864 50th Avenue. 3864 50th Avenue in beautiful St. Petersburg, Florida. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage, 1,659 square feet, fully remodeled, including luxury vinyl flooring. Bathrooms updated with sleek fixtures and tiled showers. Kitchen features stainless steel appliances, tile backsplash, and an island. It's got a screened-in back patio there in the backyard, and it's a block away from the recently renovated Maximo Marina and famous Tiki Docks. That home is beautiful on the inside. It's been completely redone, and they have done it right. It looks very modern. It is definitely eye-catching. You have some friends over, or I mean, that'd be a sweet if you could turn that into an Airbnb. I guarantee you that thing stays rented out. That's a nice property right there. 3864 50th Avenue South. Check it out, St. Petersburg. Another property we'd like to showcase for you is 13906 Bardmore Place, Unit B, here in Tampa, Florida. Bring it back to Tampa. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, 2,093 square feet of living space. Hurricane impact windows throughout, and the door in the back is also hurricane resilient. Kitchen has brand new stainless steel appliances, large pantry. The second floor features water-resistant parquet flooring, oversized and enclosed air conditioning lanai with ceramic tile, and always my favorite, that 5-person jacuzzi. Got me sold on that. And I love this property because it has the bananas and avocados that always are ripe in August in the backyard, ready to bear fruit. So 13906, check it out, Bardmore Place, Unit B. You can see all the properties available from Brandon and Lindsay and the Platinum MVP team at platinumcoastalelite.com. Buy dirt. Buy dirt. Find one you can't live without. I'm excited. I'm in the house here with attorney Patrick Smith. I've been on the show. I'm going on 4.5 years now as a guest with my business with BlackBelt Fitness. And I know, Patrick, you have been on, and you and Brandon have had a connection for a very long time, several years now.
Yeah, Brandon and I have been working together for years now, and it's been probably my longest hiatus from the show. And I was just telling you we were off air how Brandon and I were working hard. It's probably been 6 months since I'm back on the show, and today the stars sort of aligned. And then, of course, he had to call out. But, Alex, we appreciate you filling in for him, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
So do us a favor, inform myself and our listeners about Patrick Smith. What makes him tick? What makes you you, man? How did you get to be where you are?
So I'm a local Central Florida estate planning attorney by trade, but oversee a lot of attorneys who do a wide variety of practice areas, whether they're part of my practice or sort of in what I call our circle of friends, professional connections. I host my weekly radio show, heard on all the same stations that Brandon's on, plus a few more, and that's Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Christy, of 20 years, and we have our one and only son turning 18 this Thursday, actually. So, yeah,
that's a big one.
That means I'm getting old. So,
man.
Yeah.
That's subjective, I guess, but 18 is a big one. That's one that'll make you feel old. That's for sure, because my daughter's 6.5. I know she's about to be 7, and I'm like, I'm starting to feel a little, my knees are feeling a little bit, feeling 7 years at least.
Oh, it flies by. My wife sent me a video last night of William catching his very first fish ever.
Oh, man.
And it seems like we've flown by. It seems like that video was shot yesterday, and now he's a full-grown man.
Yeah, I think especially being, I'm assuming, like the type of men that we are, we're very active and busy, and we're getting things done. And you do sometimes when you stop and you sit for a second, and you're like, where did it go? I did that. I was there, man. I don't even remember going on that.
Well, I appreciate you putting me in the same league as you. I don't have black belt as my middle name, but at the end of the day, it does fly by when you have a busy life, and it's important to stop and slow down and appreciate the little things and put family first and make it a priority.
Definitely, definitely, and that's something I'm realizing more and more as time goes. I mean, in the end, that is what truly matters. That's what truly matters, man. The money and stuff is cool. It's cool to make money, but it goes, and the inflation will keep happening. So you're never gonna have enough of it. You're never gonna be like, I've made enough. I'm good. Yeah. In the end, what really matters is time and memories.
No one ever said on their deathbed, "I wish I'd worked one day more."
Never. Never. I guarantee you they wish they would have cashed in more PTO.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. So Patrick, the name of your show and the premise of your show.
It's the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I look at it as a community service. By trade, originally, I thought I was going to be a preacher when I was in high school. I had myself convinced that was my calling in life. And when I started visiting seminaries, there's no other way to describe it, and then it felt wrong. And I stopped and I said, God, I'm tired of fighting this calling. Clearly, I'm a square peg going into a round hole if I go down this path. So just tell me what you want me to do. And the stars aligned, and everything just fell into place for me to go to law school and get my law degree. And the rest is history. And I've told this story before on the air, but for the new listeners, I had a client who years ago shed light on that and said, you don't see it. I said, God still called you to be a minister. He just made you a legal minister. And from that day forward, it put my practice in a completely different perspective, where I viewed it as a legal ministry, ministering to people's legal needs. So that's what we do every Saturday. We go on the air, free of charge. People can call in and get the best legal advice we can give on live radio. And sometimes we have to follow up, like we're going to be doing on this week's show. There were a few questions that came in last week that I didn't know the answer to. And I learned that a long time ago, it's okay to not know the answer, but you can also go do the research and then come back with the best answer. And that's what we're going to do on a follow-up segment of this week's Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
That's the wisdom of Solomon right there.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
A wise person, so many people, especially nowadays with social media and stuff, there's so much faux information out there. And people are so quick to like, oh, well, this, and this person's an expert. And like, a wise person will let you know when they are not an expert, and they will seek further counsel and then get back to you.
Yeah, I kind of think today, if you had a modern-day King Solomon story, the choice wouldn't have been wisdom or wealth. It would have been wisdom or social media fame. What would you pick? But remember, the end of that story, he picked the wisdom, and God said, I'm going to go ahead and give you both.
100%.
And I always like that because that's more of an and perspective. And I always like that and perspective. I think people oftentimes limit themselves to either or dichotomies, and I don't think you have to do that so often.
Yeah, speaking of faux information, I saw a really terrible one the other day. Somebody was on air, and I hate to say it because I'm actually, a lot of times I like Joe Rogan's podcast, and he oftentimes has very intelligent people on there. And just because someone misspoke doesn't mean they're not intelligent. But they had some information going on there where a guy said that he was losing weight, going on a diet, and he realizes he hit a plateau and he was gaining weight and he didn't realize why. And then whoever he spoke to, some holistic healer or something, gave him the bright idea that the reason he was gaining weight is because he was blending his bananas instead of eating them. He said that when you blend the bananas, you're going to get a different, your saliva doesn't break it down, and then it doesn't recognize the sugar, and then it does it, versus if you actually eat it, your saliva has a chance to bring it to your digestion. Here's the point. That is absolutely false. It's caloric intake. That if that banana is 120 calories, that is 120 calories of banana that you took in, whether you blended it or decided to chew on it like a monkey.
You know what that causes me to think, to be honest with you, Alex? That causes me to think, who didn't make it on the show that week? I mean, that made the cut. So what didn't make the cut that week? What executive producer was like, you know what, the saliva guy, he's going to kill. Let's
Bring
go
him
with
in.
that.
We need Joey D.
Yeah,
we need Joey D.
I want to see the list of rejects. I want to see what didn't get on air that week, if that's what was on air.
They called Joe in the morning, and they're like, look, man, Elon's busy. He can't make it, dude.
Yeah.
Give me Joey. Get the banana guy.
Right. That's number two. That's a bit of a delta between those two things.
Isn't that terrible, though? But the problem is, this is still on topic because it's people just taking whatever information as gospel truth. Because somebody will hear that and be like, that's it. That's why I'm fat. It's because I've been blending my bananas. That's been my problem the whole time. That's why I have diabetes. No, that's incorrect. There's a lot more going on.
Well, I have a lot of local politicians on the show and off the air, and I talk in private with friends who are politicians as well. And modern day politics has now become the warfare of perception.
Oh, my goodness.
The perception is portrayed by social media. That is so much, at least half of political battle now is done on social media.
It's an incredibly powerful tool.
Can you imagine if Abraham Lincoln had a social media account? I mean, when he was debating Douglas, can you imagine if those were televised or there were reels on Instagram at the time those were happening? I mean, it just completely changes the game of politics.
Really
but you're
does.
right. And it's a world where it's about being first, not always being right.
Right.
And it's about convincing people that your perception that you want them to believe is right. And that is extremely dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Propaganda machine is terrible. And I also kudos for bringing up my favorite president of all time,
Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln, man.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
on my
Abe Lincoln.
top 5 list. He's not
Yeah.
my favorite, but I think the original GW has to be number 1 for me.
I can respect that.
But I got to put old Ronald Reagan on the list too, and
Yeah.
I think this country could use a little Ronald Reagan right now. Some of that,
Yeah.
self-effacing humor. Someone who's not afraid
Yeah.
to laugh at themselves.
Yeah, Abe Lincoln more for me is what he did, abolish slavery and just he's obviously a legend. He's on the $5 bill, right? But also he was a wrestler, and he to boost morale for his troops. For those that don't know the story, he would actually go to like the war zones and stuff at the time, and he would go there and he'd be out there and he would wrestle with the boys. So can you imagine? I mean, not to get into who's your right now, your current whatever, but like the current president or current past presidents from the last couple of years going out to like Iraq and say, hey, just to boost morale, I'm going to go out there and wrestle with some of my Green Berets and stuff like that.
Sort of like Bob Hope style.
Wouldn't do it, man.
Can you imagine?
Oh, it would be a comedy. What's the other one? The Flying Circus, Monty Python, and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be horrendous.
No, but Abe had. I mean, that was a fantastic thing about the Lincoln administration was certainly the abolition of slavery, and he was one of a kind. But if he's on the $5 bill, what does it say for Al Hamilton making it to the 10? And he's not even a president.
How about that?
Yeah. So
What are your thoughts on that? Why do you think that the push for that was just?
Because Alexander Hamilton was probably one of the greatest founding fathers we had, and I think he was one speech away from being a president.
True.
I think when he gives a speech that goes on for, I think it was over 2.5 hours about reinstituting monarchy, that probably torpedoes your chance at being a president. But that's what he did at the Constitutional Convention. That was the perception anyway at the time,
enough,
going back to perception. So I think that probably cost him a presidency, plus some, personal failures he had in his marriage, which became very public.
Yeah.
And I think that probably contributed to the biggest downturn of his presidential bid.
Yeah. But imagine all of that now, again, like you're saying, with social media at the time, if that would have been present, like it would have just gone viral, like marital affairs and things like that. It just would have been like, man,
yeah.
it's
Well,
terrible.
when you consider.
You can destroy a human in seconds. You can destroy your reputation in seconds now.
And I would like to imagine that Al Hamilton around today would be probably one of the most prolific posters, like Kim Kardashian-esque, because of the way he wrote.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about, he wrote, I think it was like over 2/3 of the Federalist Papers. I mean, it's his legendary is his energy and his drive. So he would have the highest post rate of any social media content. So, yeah, this feels like it's ripe for a comedy that's going to be coming to air this fall or something, like modern day founding fathers and social media.
It's a dark comedy. It's a dark comedy at that. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're heading towards. These people like Kardashian and stuff, like you're saying. Like now, I mean, they may as well just do like, instead of going to the ballots, we'll just do phone-ins like American Idol. Who do you think should be president this week? And then you go, hey, what policy should be passed? And everybody dials in and texts your answers for $2.99.
Well, that would be. I mean, if truly everyone could vote, that would be the purest democracy.
As long as they didn't rig the electronic system.
Sure.
Yeah, but if we could verify,
voter integrity is always a priority.
Yeah, so. I'm a fan of that. I believe, I personally believe to an extent, the Electoral College, it's an antiquated system. I think that the majority vote. I think if we're sitting around and if we're having dinner and 9 out of 10 people say they want pizza instead of meatloaf, but dad's the head of the household and he goes, nope, we're having meatloaf, and cuts it. Well, then why did we vote?
Well, did you see the Key and Peele sketch about the Electoral College?
I don't remember that one.
They did a great bit about it was a spoof on the Rock the Vote ad that they had out years ago.
Yeah.
So they did Rock the Vote, and they said, let us explain it to you, and they explained how the presidential voting goes. And then they said, and then we go over to the Electoral College where they do the real voting. And one of the guys goes, wait, what?
It's all smoke and mirrors, man.
Well, and there's a lot of that. But, at the end of the day, it's the way we've done it for forever. That doesn't mean
it's our roots are in that.
That doesn't mean it's the right way necessarily.
Sure.
I mean, if you listen to Jefferson, every 20 years there should be a revolution of some type. Not necessarily a literal revolution.
Correct.
Don't get excited out there.
Yeah. Put the pitchforks down.
Yeah, a revolution in ideas, and his theory being only the best ideas would survive that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I like that, man. So how do people find your show? You got a website, social media? How do we get in contact with you and see you?
So Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. we're on, I think it's like 15 stations now in the Tampa Bay area, so it's pretty easy to find us. You can watch us live on Facebook by searching for Attorney Patrick Smith. On Instagram, you can stream it live at the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and you can listen to prior podcast episodes available at my website, attorneypatricksmith.com.
You guys got a YouTube channel? You would get the...
That's a great question, and I appreciate that you think I know the answer to that. But
Gotta-
I don't believe
we gotta
I
get
don't
you
believe
going.
we do. That's a question for my director of marketing, but I'm not 100% sure of the answer to that question.
Got it. We got to get you on YouTube or at least Rumble, where it's like non-biased.
I just
and you
said how
can-
comfortable I'm saying I don't know, so I'm going to exercise my right to say I don't know, but we'll find out.
There you go. The wisdom of Solomon strikes again. Always here with us. Amen. Patrick, thanks for being on the show, man. It was a pleasure meeting you. And we're going to take a quick break, and then when we return, I'm going to get to talk with Doug Clark, the mastermind behind Hours Creole. Don't touch that dial. ConsumerQB.com.
This is Ward Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.